Question number 1. Does academic burnout and peer pressure affect your studies?
Does academic burnout and peer pressure affect your studies? Yes, for me, academic burnout and peer pressure can affect my studying because you can't focus on only one thing. You focus on a lot of different things, which can be a tough time or a tough obstacle to overcome.
Have you ever felt overwhelmed by peer pressure and stress? And how do you cope with it?
Number two, have you ever felt overwhelmed by peer pressure and stress, and how did you cooperate with it? I sometimes cooperate with my stress or when I'm overwhelmed with studies like that is by doing the things that I love or spending time with my family and having family bonding and gala.
And for the last question, how do you manage stress and peer pressure in your daily life?
How do you manage stress and peer pressure in your daily life? And again, I can manage stress and peer pressure in my daily life by spending time with friends when I'm at school or playing games on my phones, relaxing games, and or focusing on myself. That's how I handle man that's how I handle or manage stress and peer pressure in my daily life.
What is your name and what grade and section are you from? I am
Question number 1. Does academic burnout and peer pressure affect your studies?
For the first question, yes, it does. Academic burnout and peer pressure causes me to lose motivation in doing my tasks, and it also hinders me to think clearly. Like, I lose my creative thinking ability, I lose focus, and everything that I have previously memorized suddenly blurs out of my mind.
And question number 2. Do you think that there are healthy and unhealthy peer pressure as a motivation? If so, please give me an example.
For the second question, it honestly depends on the person or situation. Me personally, I view peer pressure as a negative aspect most of the time. But there are situations where peer pressure motivates me to think of solutions fast or think of ideas in a short time span. But generally, I say that peer pressure is unhealthy.
And now, for the third question, how do you manage stress and peer pressure in your daily life?
For the third and last question, I always go with the saying, out of sight, out of mind. When situations get too overwhelming and everything seems like it's chaotic, I would distance myself from the problem for a few moments to regulate myself, forgetting the painstaking problem and just relax, then think of a better way to approach the stressful task at hand. I personally prefer listening to music while I'm at it to gain inspiration or to just feel the moment, to vibe with myself.
What is your grade and section? Good morning everyone. My name is Ron Razoki Magsayo in St. Celestine A STEM.
Question number 1. Does academic burnout and peer pressure affect your studies?
Yes, definitely. Academic burnout makes it so hard to stay motivated. Even when you know you have deadlines, your brain just feels tired and it's so hard to focus. And to add to that, peer pressure adds like another layer because you feel like you have to keep up with everyone else or face social life, which often leads to poor time management and even more is stress.
Question number 2. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by peer pressure and stressed? And how did you cope with it?
Yes, I certainly have. There were times when I felt a silent pressure to overwork myself just because it seemed like everyone else was doing more or maybe giving more effort to a certain project or something. And actually, to cope, I focus on setting healthy boundaries. I start prioritizing on my goals when instead of comparing my works or behind the scenes struggles to everyone else, which highlights the real. And I found that taking intentional breaks and communicating with my support systems like my friends or probably like my family member, um it helps me stay grounded and regain or probably regaining my focus. And yes,
Question number 3. What advice would you give to someone struggling with stress or academic burnout?
well, if you ask me for advice, my main advice would be to practice self-compassion because it's important to remember that academic success is a marathon, not a sprint. To be afraid to take a step back when it gets heavy and probably never hesitate to reach out for support. Re- Recognizing when you need rest isn't a sign of weakness. And believe me, I always recognize myself for a weak person. But now I realize that I don't need to I don't need to look at it as a weakness. Look at it as like a fresh start, you know? When I wake up in the morning and like, oh yeah, I'm motivated to work now and it's like giving you a fresh brain, you know, to work on something that you need to finish and knowing that you have a fresh energy in that to work on. Yeah, it's not a weakness. And it's actually a key part of maintaining long term consistency and mental well being. So, yeah, that's my main advice for you and to all of the people that is hearing this. Thank you.